Megan Hicks of I Run Far. I'm with Jim Walmsley. It's the day after the 2025 Trail World Championships Long Trail, and we're here with the men's champion. Congratulations, Jim.
Thanks so much.
How's that feeling the day after?
Pretty typical of an ultra. Really sore, and I think getting more sore as the minute goes on. But it's always worth it.
That was really fun to watch from an audience perspective yesterday. How did it go from your version?
Yeah, I guess making a habit of that at my expense, but it went way smoother than, like, say, OCC. I had some mistakes that just made it kind of feel sloppy, but yesterday everything felt pretty dialed and went to plan, and legs felt super good from the beginning. Was able to eat and drink all day, so I avoided too much of unexpected lows. I think everybody was doing what they could manage the last climb or two climbs, so in the last 10 miles, but yeah, that's where it got to be a bit true ultra, which is pretty nice, especially for a 50 miler. It doesn't always get a couple hours of that.
Where you get into that zone where it's...
Yeah. It's steep, it's rocky, and you just hike right through it, and even a good hike is it's the best anyone's managing, so yeah.
It looked like you built a relationship with second place Louison Coiffet and his other teammate.
Benjamin.
Benjamin Roubiol. You guys, were best friends for the first half of the race.
I got to run with the French team yesterday, and they're quite strong. But Petter, I think, also played a big part in the early stuff, because Petter and I, we definitely bonded a bit more, because we could tell we were strong going up comparatively to the two French guys, and then the two French guys were considerably stronger, I would say, going down.
Okay.
And I was even talking with Petter of let's keep the pressure on the ups, and then I'll try to stay in front on the descents to just manage the speed on the descent so that they don't get away, and try to kind of clog it a little bit. And I think it was actually a really kind of spontaneous strategy, but I think it worked quite well, because it never stretched out on the descent, which, looking at this course and looking at the runners of the field, it was probably the biggest concern that guys would really hammer descents and get away.
I wonder if that's because this race only had one giant descent, the final one. All of the others were 1,000 feet, 300 meters, 400 meters. I wonder if it just wasn't enough time for the downhill specialists to make loads of distance.
But they were super technical. Steep descents. So I don't know if you got out on the course and saw our first two descents, or those were, luckily, the trickiest parts were kind of earlier or in the middle of the race as far as technicality. The back half of the course I knew was more straightforward. So if I could manage the first half of the race like this, then the second half of the race, it starts to become an ultra. It starts to become more chunky trail that we'd be more used to, less tricky with proper technical descents or sky running ridges. So being more straightforward and later in the race, I was just hoping that some of my strengths would start coming through late in the race.
A couple of those ridges in the first half of the race were really fun to watch you guys going back and forth on. Was it fun to play on those, or were you just oh Lord, let's get through this to where I can move with a little bit more flow?
It's just always so surprising to me that on race day with a race lens and a bib, technical things, that when I scouted the course, I'm oh gosh, this is going to be a disaster. I don't want to race something with exposure like this and this technical, but you put the bib on and you start racing, and it's always crazy how things change like this, and what was hard becomes smooth, and luckily got through it all safely and relatively smooth, and actually quite fast, I think. So it was good.
Somewhere out in the French section of the course is where you finally were able to make a gap on the men. When you came back into Spain, when you came into the Candanchu, I think you had about a 2-minute lead on Louison.
Yeah.
Did you intentionally make a move out there, or did that sort of just naturally happen?
I think the gap started to naturally happen.
Okay.
So first, Benjamin started to fall off the pace a bit, which that was a bit surprising because he felt really well-rounded, but maybe he was pushing a little more, especially uphill early. And so that was kind of just the overall strategy to put like a full court press and like force mistakes late or tiredness, and that these cracks would start to open up, but there's no like real move with it. It's just a constant pressure of how I was trying to pace myself. But at times too, like we're descending so fast, you're like, surely my legs are gonna blow up as well. But pretty much descending all day, my legs stayed together, which was pretty nice. Not necessarily, like I don't know exactly what's gonna happen, but you have to take a bit of that risk to play in the game. And then I think from most of the race, Benjamin felt really well-rounded with his ability up, down, and even flat. Where Louison, his like super strength, he's definitely, I would say in the front, like the best technical descender, and then, but wasn't quite as strong with the up or flat. So when things split and it was just Louison and myself, I felt that I could perhaps gain some advantage on some of the more runnable ups.
From Kandanshu, which is about 65K, to where we saw you next, which was a little after 70K, so let's say 6K of distance, your gap went from 2 minutes to about 8 minutes. You must have pushed the gas.
That's kind of where, like late in the race, especially a race like this where you're using poles and people get into a rhythm of hiking the ups. I've kind of noticed in other races like Madeira Island that when you really want to now, you see a small crack, you start to try to kind of tempo more climb, so you're running with the poles. And yeah, the idea was to see hopefully if I can make 2 minutes, 4 minutes, or 4 minutes, 6 minutes, and like just keep applying pressure when I start getting away. But yeah, so I think that climb I very intentionally started to kind of tempo the climb, but then I know from basically Kandanshu to, I think it was just before Kandanshu I started to maybe put some pressure, but but I think the roar started coming after Kandanshu and I was still hiking pretty well.
Lots of chatter pre-race about the 122 descent switchbacks back down to town afterwards. How was that?
It's all right. I think for me, I was happy to have that as a final descent rather than one of the technical descents. It's a pretty straightforward, smooth descent. It just takes forever and goes on.
How did it feel to cross the line and become the world champion of the long trail? You have a lot of proverbial feathers in your cap at this point, but that's just one more notch, eh?
I don't know. It's special for sure because I think it was a big fight, and that's always like pretty cool to just dig deep and find that like kind of fight within yourself. Like that only happens in a race scenario. So that's like super special firstly, and then second it's just kind of, I think many of us are just scratching our heads where this fits and compares to the big races like UTMB or Western States and how this fits in, and I think all of us don't quite know yet, but I think we can at least say like the field for long trail, at least this year, was pretty insane. And I know looking at the start list, I'm like, how do you look at this list and say like, you're gonna win or this is gonna happen and on this sort of course? So yeah, it's just crazy to pull off things again.
There was some fun chatter with Team France this morning where they said, you know, the Americans, they were double champions, but both champions live in France.
Okay.
A little bit like, can we claim them just by association?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think France provides a pretty good opportunity to be in the mountains and a good landscape for training for trail. I think both Katie and I have been pretty captured by the mountains in France, so yeah.
Good place to live, good place to train, so okay by association.
Yeah, it's all right.
Last question for you. You said in your pre-race interview you were still thinking of one more race for 2025. Yeah. What's in the thoughts there?
I don't know. I gotta see how my feet heal up. My feet got pretty banged up from this one. Yeah, I gotta see if I shut it down or try to do one more, but I probably won't travel to Reunion Island.
Okay.
That was kind of the big one, but I think, yeah, timing might not be right. I'm not sure my energy will be back for that one, and I think you need your energy right to fight there, and you're gonna show up and get beat by the course no matter what if you kind of half-pass it. So I've done that kind of once before, and yeah, I don't want to do it again. I know I need to be a bit more prepared than probably what I am now.
The best part about Reunion Island is it is there every year.
Yeah, it's annual, so, but I haven't been back in, it'll be 8 years now, so yeah, the time is coming to go back.
Yeah, one of these days.
Yep.
Congratulations on your win of the Long Trail World Championships, and we'll see if we see you again this year.
Thank you very much.